promise to be faithful to King Viserys and to his named heir,
Princess Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra Targaryen.
This show seems like it's going to play, with morality and motivations quite a bit. And the showrunners made a comment at Comic-Con about, audiences probably shifting from episode to episode about who they're rooting for. So do you think the audience will be rooting for you guys, or if it'll change throughout the season?
I think that what is clever about our show, and that Miguel has really implemented, is that there's no goodies and there's no baddies, so you can root for someone one episode and then they're going to do something bad, so you're going to root for someone else. So the show is about that grey area, which is what I think makes it so interesting.
Yeah, everyone asks us who our favorite characters are in our show, and it changes every time I think about it.
And so your characters I find really interesting because in the book, their motivations and backstories are some of the most clearly described. So do you think your characters are some of the more sympathetic, or at least more emotionally understandable ones?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I think so. Yeah, I mean, hey, we're going to be biased because we've been living these characters for a year. But yes, I think so. I think if you were to just, on a superficial basis, describe what happens, you describe Rhaenys' backstory, you could understand
where she's coming from.
Where she's coming from. And as a man who has created his own wealth in a world that is full of people who've been given their wealth, have inherited their wealth, you can understand his feeling of
frustration.
Yeah,
he's surrounded by a group of very entitled, rich aristocrats.
Yeah.
They have a very healthy relationship, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, it's the only marriage in the whole show that is one of the few ones that is relatively healthy, that's not incestuous, that's based on a love match, that's been going for a really long time, and that is a kind of, Because
I just realized the only one that comes close is Viserys and his wife, but of course she doesn't even last.
But she doesn't last 5 sex.
Yeah,
she
so
has, miscarriage.
We're the couple.
Yeah. At the core of this story is this entrenched patriarchy, which at the very beginning we learn, men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne. And so the arc of the story is this, how we're going to negotiate this unraveling of this ancient
system, way of thinking. Yeah.
And so, Graham, Westerling isn't really fleshed out in the book Fire and Blood. So what can you tell us about your take on this, Lord Commander of the King's Guard?
He is a morally upright human being, which in the world of Westeros and in my own career is extremely rare. So it was a wonderful opportunity for me to play somebody who was very, very sure of himself, very contained, very experienced, a person who, as part of his duties as Lord Commander of the King's Guard, has forsaken family life, any kind of relationships, any money, any titles, and has simply devoted himself to the lives of the royal family, in particular, the Princess Rhaenyra. And so there's a kind of father-daughter relationship somewhat in there. He's literally known her since she was a baby. So that's a big part of it. But really he is, he's the touchstone for morality in the show in many ways, because there's a lot of fluctuation with the other characters that one minute you think, oh, they seem nice, they seem, oh no, what are they doing now? So that's a thread that runs through it, whereas Westerling is a straight arrow, but he sees and hears everything.
The relationship between your characters in the book is kind of complicated and contradictory because there are conflicting historical accounts. So will the show explore the true actual version of what happened between you guys?
Ooh, I think so.
I think maybe.
I think
we think maybe. We are.
There's 3 sides to every story.
There's 3,
as they say.
And that's such a true quote.
It's so true.
We're sworn to secrecy.
To secrecy.
Sorry.
And you brought up Rhaenyra, and what are his thoughts about where her ambitions and her path may lead her?
You see, I believe, well, this is my take anyway, that he is very pleased that she has become the heir to the throne. I think he regards her as a very capable individual, a trustworthy individual, and somebody who has the best interests of the Targaryens at heart. So he's all for it. He doesn't see her as anybody to be suspicious of at all. And I think it would take a great deal to change that opinion. But that's the wonderful thing about this world, is that whatever you think is going to happen, it invariably doesn't in that way, but what you don't expect is what will in fact occur.
History does not remember blood.